gentleman's club. No gentleman has ever been in this club. All right. Well, the champ is here, folks. We're getting ready for this stream. This is Deontay Wilder's gym, the New Era Gym in Northport, Alabama. And as he makes his way in, we're sorry for the lateness, but the champ is here now. And looks like he's ready to go. I like when the champ comes in, he's ready to go. So he's going to come over here for a couple of minutes, Steve. Deontay, get you over here for a couple of minutes. What's up, baby? All right. Champ is here. He's greeting a couple people. All right. Champ is here. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. You know, I'm ready to go. It's been a long count for me. You know, this is the last final 2 weeks of it, and I'm ready. Okay. You know what I mean? There's nothing else more to be said. Just action time at this point in time.
Okay. So what do the fans have an opportunity to see here tonight? What are you going to show us here tonight?
Well, tonight, you know, since it's the last 2 weeks, this is the biggest part of my camp. The last 2 weeks is the most important part, you know, of camp. And we got some great guys here for sparring, and we're going to finish up sparring. This is the most important time for sparring. This is where I get the longest rounds in, and we go over a lot of things that we've been training from very first start of camp to just sharpening everything, you know. So it becomes, at this point, it's a muscle memory, but you want it to be a sharp muscle memory. So when it's time to perform in the ring on the night of the 23rd of November, everything will be superb.
All right. Well, we're not going to hold you up. We're going to let you get on with what you're going to get on with. And he's going to wrap his hands, so we'll be able to watch that. He's going to stretch out a little bit. We'll be able to watch that. We won't be able to watch any sparring, I understand, but we understand why. But after that, we're going to take a few questions from the media here and a couple of questions from the fans. We look forward to it. Go do your thing.
Blessings.
All right. So this is the Wilder and Ortiz 2. It's pay-per-view, Fox PBC pay-per-view. It is live 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. It's a jam-packed show. And I have here my little cheat sheet of the guys that are going to be on the undercard. And it's a spectacular undercard, really. It's going to feature the undefeated rising star, Brandon, the Heartbreaker Figueroa. He's going to be making the first defense of his WBA Super Bantamweight title against former champion Julio Ceja, plus undefeated Mexican power puncher Luis Neri. He's going to battle Puerto Rico's Emmanuel Rodriguez in a matchup of former bantamweight champions. So the tickets for this event, which is going to be promoted by Bomb Squad Promotions, TGB Promotions, and Mayweather Promotions, are on sale now and can be purchased at www.mgmgrand.com or www.axs.com. That's X is an X-ray, S.com. So Deontay Wilder is, a couple of facts here about Deontay Wilder. He is currently the longest reigning heavyweight champion. He won that title back in 2015. As a matter of fact, he won that championship on the night of Ali's birthday. That's one of his idols. And he's defended it, successfully defended it. I think this is going to be, let me look at my cheat sheet again. This is going to be his 10th straight defense. So, you know, this guy's, to me, the best of the current crop of heavyweight champions that we have. So we're going to get an opportunity to see him in the ring in a rematch with Luis Ortiz, the guy who came the closest to dethroning him, the guy who came the closest to defeating him. And, you know, he prevailed in that fight. And JD's, the trainer for Deontay Wilder, you're not getting started. You got a few minutes to give us right here.
Couple minutes.
So, you know, before he comes out, give us a couple minutes. Where are you guys right now with training?
We're at the New Era Gym in Northport. Nah, no. No, we're in crunch time. Like, this is the biggest part of the training camp is this week. This is the week we get our most rounds of sparring. This is the week we have 3 guys in that are going to be doing a lot of rounds. This is the most serious. It's all serious, but this is where it all culminates. And then after this week, we start slowing down so that Deontay's body can recover. And we want him to peak. The idea is to get him to peak on fight night, so that on fight night he's better than he would be the night before or the night after. That fight night is that moment right there. And it's a moving target. So you have to kind of really have an intuitive feel for your guy. But I think we do. We've done it long enough, and we know each other, and Deontay's really good about telling us how he feels and what's going on. And so I think we're right on track for a great night.
And when we talk about rematches, and you've had one with Stavern, how does he approach rematches? Is it a situation where if he's seen it before, he's gone to school on it, or how do you guys approach a rematch?
Well, kind of a two-pronged answer. Deontay's IQ, once he's been in the ring with somebody, he's already got it in the memory bank. What he can improve upon, the adjustments he needs to make from a biomechanical standpoint. He knows, Ortiz inside and out. He knows he's been in that ring with a very, very talented fighter in Luis Ortiz. So from our standpoint, we of course go to the film, we break it down, and we try to say, what did we do well, what can we improve upon, knowing of course that Ortiz's people, who are very, very good at what they do, they're doing the same thing. So sometimes you have to actually play chess a little bit and figure out, we're going to try to improve these things, what are they going to try to do, and how do we counteract, and we're all playing that same game.
And obviously there's not a fear factor, wouldn't be a fear factor anyway, because he's sort of fearless in the ring. But is this a situation where he just steps to the guy the same way he stepped to Brazil and the same way that he stepped to Stavern?
Well, I think it's going to surprise a lot of people what's going to happen in this fight. Now, I can't give it away, but I can tell you that, you definitely want to tune in, because as we know, Deontay Wilder is devastating, period, but in rematches, it's even more so. And so I think we're looking for something very, very spectacular, and I think it's the best 2 heavyweights in the world that are fighting each other, and I think that's a great thing, because when the first fight happened, Ortiz thought his performance would lend him to being open to a lot of opportunities, and that just didn't happen. People didn't want to fight him before, they really didn't want to fight him after. So only is it Deontay Wilder that's kind of blessing him with another opportunity and said, you know what, nobody wanted to fight you the first time, nobody wants to fight you this time, here I am, let's do this. And that's indicative of Deontay's attitude throughout. Nobody's fighting the guys that Deontay Wilder is fighting. Nobody's fighting Ortiz twice, nobody's fighting Tyson Fury, nobody's fighting these guys back to back like he is, and mixing in Brazil in the middle. So he's the guy that's saying, I want to fight the best, and I don't care who they are. Get me the best fighters. Get me the biggest fights.
Okay, I see your guys back, so we're going to dismiss you. Thank you a lot, Jay.
All right, thank you, Tim.
Okay. All right, so we're here. The gym is packed, and I think somebody just turned the heat on. Did somebody turn the heat up in here? Because I'm like sweating, so and it's not because I'm blushing or anything like that, but so yeah, this is indeed his 10th title defense. And so with this 10th title defense, Deontay is stepping into some historical shoes. He'll be joining Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes, Tommy Burns, and Vasily and Vladimir Klitschko as the only champions, the only heavyweight champions that have 10 consecutive defenses of the title. So, that's pretty rare company. That's pretty good company. So we're going to see, exactly how he approaches it. Jay just said that, we're going to see something spectacular, and we saw exactly how spectacular he could be in a rematch when he fought Romain Stavern, and he stepped to him and he dispatched him fairly quickly and in a dramatic fashion. So, and a couple other facts here. With the knockout win over Dominic Brazil in May, Wilder became only the 10th heavyweight champion in history with 9 or more successful consecutive title defenses. Again, great class of people. Mike Tyson jumps into that group with Ali, with Joe Louis, and the rest of those guys. So another bit of information here. He's also a rising star outside of the ring. So since he's won the title in 2015, he has continued to see his star rise in the sport. And in boxing, he was ranked 34th on ESPN's World Fame 100 list. And that was the top spot among any boxer that was on that list. And there are some impressive boxers that are out there. So you see where he ranks in the world in terms of being well known. All right. And also, I thought this was interesting, that this will be his third title defense in the last 11 months. That makes him it makes him the most active heavyweight champion.
Go and kill the heat over there.
Because, we know that the titles that Anthony Joshua changed hands with the fight against Joshua. So, I mean the fight against Andy. Oh yes, the fight against Andy Ruiz. Those titles changed hands back in June, and they'll rematch in December. So a lot of people are going to be watching that rematch with a keen interest, because this fight against Luis Ortiz and that fight with Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua sets up what could be one of the greatest unification fights in the sport in a long time. And the last time we had unified heavyweight champion was Lennox Lewis back in 2000. So you're talking about something that's almost, hasn't happened in 2 decades. So almost 20 years since we've had a unified heavyweight champion. So this is what makes this division really so interesting. And it hasn't been like this for a long time. The Klitschko's, they both represented the heavyweight championship. They both did it with respect, but they didn't do it with the concussiveness and with the pizzazz and with the intrigue
I don't never care about
that
weight, man. Weight is not the importance.
that Deontay Wilder has brought to the heavyweight championship. So we're seeing things that we haven't seen in a while in terms of single punch knockout power. So this is going to be an interesting rematch. It's going to be something that the people that are really interested in boxing are going to follow keenly, because it sets up. And Deontay's talking right now, so we're going to go over and listen to what he's got to say.
What differentiates me from the rest is multiples of knockouts and being able, what other fighter in the world will fight somebody 20, 30, 40, even 50 pounds bigger than them? Nobody. And that's what differentiates me from the rest. And I do it with ease. So every man I face will taste that can. And they shall continue to taste it. That's what makes me who I am. Must see TV. Let's go, baby.
I'll be answering your questions live on Instagram after this media workout. Stay tuned.
Hey, what's up, baby? This your boy Deontay the Bronx Wilder, WBC heavyweight champion of the world. And I'll be asking you your questions right after this session. Stay tuned, baby.
Okay, all the people from the media, it's fine to be right up here against the ring while he's stretching out and while he's shadow boxing, getting warmed up, and while he gears up. Once we get to the part where he's sparring, that's where he's boxing the other guys here. At that point, there is no video and no photography, and we'll need you to either back up to that opening or back up on this side or be on the bench over here. So we need everybody to back up once we get to that point, and we'll make that announcement again when we get there. But right now, everything's fine.
Good. Still no do it? You can get one. You sure? At least not right now. Yeah, no.
Again, the details on this fight. It's Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. He is going to put his title on the line in a rematch with Luis King Kong Ortiz. It's Fox Sports pay-per-view, Saturday, November 23rd, from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. And this promises to be a really, really good show because, again, there are some really good fights on the undercard. And this is a highly anticipated rematch, primarily because the first fight was a back-and-forth kind of fight. Deontay was in some serious trouble in that 7th round. He was nearly knocked out. And then, it turned into a classic, and it was one of the contenders for the best fight of the year in 2018. But as Deontay has done for most of his career, he ended it in concussive fashion with a knockout. And it was an uppercut. It was a right uppercut that just sort of sent Ortiz into another world. And he scored a knockdown before then in the previous round. But it just shows that Deontay has some concussive single punch knockout ability. So it's really a fantastic fight. And the undercard, the co-feature in that fight is going to be really good too. I failed to mention that before, but the co-feature is going to be, Leo Santa Cruz is going to be seeking a 4th division title when he takes on Miguel Flores for the WBA super featherweight title. And that's the co-feature. That's the co-main event now. Leo Santa Cruz has sort of ruled the featherweight division for a while. Been a very, very good featherweight fighter. Had some very interesting fights with Carl Frampton, some very interesting fights with Abner Mares. So again, he's moving up in weight. He's moving up to 130 pounds. He's looking for a 4th world title, and that's rarefied here. Not a lot of guys have 4 titles in 4 different weight classes. And he's a Mexican champion that's looking to do that. And that, again, that's rarefied air, that he will be joining some really, really good fighters in doing that. So, again, the tickets for this event, which is promoted by Bomb Squad Promotions, which is Deontay's promotional company, TGB Promotions, and Mayweather Promotions, are on sale now and can be purchased at www.mgmgrand.com and at www.axs.com. So Deontay Wilder, his record, this is really an amazing record. He's got one of the greatest knockout ratios of anybody that's in the sport today. He's 41-0-1 with 40 knockouts. And, that's an impressive number regardless of who you fight, because anybody in boxing can tell you that it's very, very difficult to knock a guy out. Some guys spend their entire career avoiding getting knocked out. And it's very difficult to knock a guy out who's not looking to get knocked out or who comes into the ring to survive. Deontay Wilder has knocked out all those guys that come into the ring looking to survive, and he gets them out of there. So part of the intrigue of watching Deontay fight for boxing fans is that they know that the knockout's going to come. Could be the first round, could be the second, could be the 5th, could be the 10th, could be the 11th, could be the 12th round, but you know that when he steps into the ring, he's knocking somebody out. And that's the intrigue. You don't know how it's going to go, but you know he's knocking somebody out. And I go back to some of the fights that I've seen him in. I go back to the Arthur Spilka fight, which he scored a 9th round knockout in. People are like, oh, he's behind on the scorecards. He's behind on the scorecards. And then wham, all of a sudden in the 9th round, it's over. Gerald Washington, same thing. Oh, he's losing on the scorecards. 5th round, bam, it's over. So, you're witnessing something here that you don't see in the history of the sport very often. He's a generational knockout artist. And we've seen that with guys like Tyson, who have that kind of knockout power. You've seen that with guys like Joe Louis. And, yeah, you're talking about historical figures in terms of knockout power. But this guy's got generational knockout power, and it's freakish. Guys like, Tommy Hearns had that kind of knockout power, to knock guys out. And when you have that kind of knockout power, You know, it's not something that you can learn in the gym. It's not something that somebody can teach you on the street. You either have it or you don't have it. And this guy's got it. So it's going to be an interesting fight. So we're right here. We're in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which is, you know, Deontay Wilder is making it the home of champions. You know, there's a college football champion right down the road, but Deontay's making it the home of a heavyweight champion. And so, you know, when you think about Tuscaloosa, you're going to start thinking about Deontay Wilder now, just as much as you think about, you know, Alabama, the Crimson Tide. So, again, you know, he's in the ring now stretching, and he's getting ready to spar. And as soon as he gets in the ring and spar, we're going to have a conversation with Leonard Ellaby, who's one of the promoters, who's president of Mayweather Promotions. We're going to have a conversation with him and talk a little bit about the history of heavyweight rematches, you know, big fights in Las Vegas, you know, and just the overall view, from his standpoint, the overall view of the heavyweight division. And like I was saying before, it's a very good division. I've followed boxing since the '84 Olympic Games. You know, when you had, you know, those, you know, I can't even remember, but, you know, multiple gold medal winners, Pernell Whitaker, Meldrick Taylor, you know, guys like that. Mark Breeland, who is training Deontay Wilder now. Mark Breeland came out of that '84 Olympic class, a great welterweight champion. He was in that class. He's now one of the trainers. He's tutoring, you know, Deontay Wilder. And you can see some of the earmarks of what Mark did as a welterweight champion and as an amateur. He's schooling Deontay in a lot of those things, the use of the jab. I was just mentioning this to a couple of people before we got started here on the stream. I think Deontay Wilder's probably one of the few boxers out there that can beat somebody with a 1-2. And I remember the great trainer Eddie Futch says, you know, used to say, you're a sucker if you get beat by the 1-2. But this guy has the ability to beat people with a 1-2, a jab and a right hand. He's one of the few fighters out there that has that ability to beat you, because his right hand is a tremendous weapon. It's, you know, it's the thing that takes guys out. And everybody that gets into the ring with him, they are worried about that right hand. And again, Mark Breeland, member of the '84 Olympic class, gold medal winner, one of the best boxers that ever come out of New York City, one of the greatest amateurs in New York City. He's tutoring him, you know, in the ring, in the art of boxing. And he's getting there. He's getting a lot better. I think Deontay's ring IQ is something that people don't really, you know, sort of sleep on, that ring IQ, that, you know, he's not really a school guy in the ring, but he is. He's a smart guy. And I remember the first Ortiz fight. I remember watching that fight, and I can't remember what round it was, but Deontay threw a wide looping right hand, and Ortiz, you know, sort of moved back to avoid it, and it whizzed by, and it wasn't even close. Deontay threw it again, and Ortiz didn't move that much. I think it was the fifth round when he got the first knockdown. Ortiz didn't move nearly as much. And then Deontay came back with the same right hand. Ortiz didn't move, and it clipped him, and it sent him to the canvas. So, you know, you look at the Brazil fight, and, you know, how he used the jab to put the chin right into position and followed it with the right hand. That's why I was saying he's one of the few guys that can beat guys with a 1-2. So, you know, and this is the part, looks like he's going to put him in the figure 4. Doesn't it look like he's going to put him in the figure 4? He's much more flexible than me, but yeah, he's in a ring stretching out now. So we're gonna watch the stretching a little bit, and then we're gonna get his conditioning coach. At some point once Joey stretches him out, we're gonna get Joey Scott over, and Joey's a very talented conditioning guy. He's a track coach at the University of Miami, the Hurricanes. So he works with the sprinters down there. He's also a guy that you know, takes a lot of sprinters and a lot of track athletes to the Olympic Games. So he's got Olympic pedigree. So, you know, he knows all about strength conditioning. He knows all about stretching and everything. And this is like the boring part of working out, but it's the most important thing because it gives him the flexibility in his muscles and everything to be able to do what he needs to do when he gets in there, and helps with his ability to throw punches, and helps with the whip-like right hand that he has. So so he's stretching out now, but that looks like it hurts. I don't know if I could do that, but that actually looks like it's painful. But he's stretching out. So, and I think he's gonna spar for maybe 4 or 5 rounds today. So we'll see how that goes. As JD's was saying, they're at the heaviest part of the sparring this week. So this is where he sort of fine tunes the strategy and looking at some of the guys that he has to spar against. They are pretty much the same size, the same build, compact build as Luis Ortiz. So it's a great preparation for him. He's getting ready for that match. So. So again, we're at the New Era Gym. Used to be the Skyboxing Gym, but it's now the New Era Gym, and it's the gym that Deontay Wilder walked into as a 19-year-old, and he tells a story about how he heard the heavenly sounds of angels when he walked in, because he knew he was in a place where his athletic talents were going to be, take him to the heights. So this is a really the home of how he became what he became, and it really is one of the more interesting stories in sports, because when you think about the fact that boxers normally they're groomed from the time that they're very young, 7, 8 years old. You ask a guy like Mark Breeland, who's a gold medalist, when he got started, and he'll tell you he got started 7, 8 years old, and schooled as an amateur. Went to the Olympics and won a gold medal. Here you are. Here's Deontay. He's 19 years old. Didn't have an extensive amateur background. Goes to the Olympic Games in Beijing with, maybe 20-something fights, and wins a bronze medal with only 25 fights. One of the rare occasions where a guy has less than 30 fights and wins a medal in the Olympics. That's almost unheard of when you think about the way that guys on the world stage, you got guys that are in international competition. You think about a guy like Lomachenko, guy like that, 300 amateur fights, 400 amateur fights. When you get to the Olympics, you're talking about guys that, if you got 20 amateur fights, you're going up against a guy who's seen every style imaginable, and you're getting in the ring with them, and you're beating guys like that. That's quite an accomplishment. That's quite a statement that you're making. But it also is a statement to how quickly you're able to adapt to what they throw at you in the ring. And when I was a news reporter, I covered the 2004 Olympic Games. And one of the guys that I really respect in the sport of boxing was Andre Ward. I covered Andre Ward in the Olympics. And I got to tell you, Andre Ward's IQ is second to none. Probably the highest ring IQ in boxing that I've ever had an opportunity to look at was Floyd Mayweather. Now, Floyd had a really high ring IQ, but I would put Andre Ward right up there with him. So when you go to the Olympic Games, it's all about surviving and looking at styles and knowing what the judges are looking at. And for a guy with only 20-something fights to be able to go into that environment and come away with a bronze medal, the third best heavyweight in the world, at the Beijing Games, that says something. So for all those people that talk about boxing skills or not having boxing skills, go to the Olympic Games and win a medal and tell me whether, the guy that wins a medal has any boxing skills or not. They don't give out medals at the Olympics at the airport when you leave it. You earn those in the ring. This guy earned a bronze medal at the 2008 Beijing Games. So he knows how to box. He knows what he's doing. but the best gift that he has is that right hand, and that's what makes him fan friendly. That's what makes people like him, and that's why people are going to tune in on November 23rd to the Fox Sports pay-per-view. That's why people are going to tune into this fight with Luis Ortiz. It's because they want to see that somebody's getting knocked out. That's what they want to see. So he's still stretching out. This stretch out's longer than my workout. Goodness gracious, they turned the heat up in here, so it's pretty hot. Looks like he's almost finished stretching here, so he's gonna towel off here, and he's gonna work out a few kinks. JD's is stepping into the ring, so it looks like they're gonna start getting ready to glove up and get some serious sparring going on, get some action going on. So like I said, we can't really watch the sparring. You'll be able to hear some of it while it's going on, and then while some of the sparring is going on, I'm going to talk to Leonard Ellerby, who's witnessed a lot of great fights. He's been with Floyd Mayweather from the beginning of Floyd's career, so he's seen some really good boxing. He knows good boxers when he sees it, and he's one of the promoters for this show. So we're going to talk to Leonard. And we're going to talk to Joey when he finishes stretching out Deontay. So we have a couple of things going on. And then after that's over, Deontay's going to take some questions, and we're going to get more Q&A with Deontay from this media workout at the New Era Boxing Gym in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Oh, I've been told that it's Northport, Alabama. I'm sorry that if I offended anybody from Northport, Alabama. I want to make that distinction. JD's lovely assistant, Sonia, has corrected me. So I'm duly corrected, Sonia. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I always want to be accurate. Northport, Alabama. Is that anywhere close to Southport, Alabama? But no, so it's right outside of Tuscaloosa. I keep saying Tuscaloosa because I don't know where Northport is, but we are in Northport, Alabama. So thank you, Sonia. We have a nice media contingent here, watching Deontay, and this is the first open media day that we've had at the camp here. So it's a nice representation, and I'm glad that you guys will be able to join us here on the stream. And they gave me some notes on the stream, but I'm assuming that if you're watching the stream, you already know where you are. But for those people that are interested in knowing more about the stream, it is streaming live on the Premier Boxing Champions YouTube page, and also on the live on the Fox YouTube Fox YouTube page. So he's moving around the ring now, stretching out a little bit, going through some movements. Jay has him working on the rangefinder, which is that long jab. Joey, you got a minute? Got Joey Scott here, who's sweating like he just did something.
Oh, man.
You didn't do nothing, right?
I didn't do nothing. It's just hot. working on all that right there, man.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about getting him loose for something like this.
Oh man, well the thing is, I really don't too much stretch his bigger muscles. I try to focus on make sure his smaller muscles, which is his fast twitch muscles, are firing. So I do a lot of dynamic stretching with him. You know, I don't do no static where I just hold it. What I want to do is make sure that his smaller muscles that's closest to the bone, which is his fast twitch muscles, those are warmed up the proper way. Because as you know, when that's what they do. They're active. You know, when they're in that square circle, they don't stop for a minute. You know, everything is just motion. So I do a lot of dynamic stretching with him. Make sure his muscles is firing.
Tell everybody we're live on the stream. Say hello to everybody. This is Joey Scott.
How you doing? How you doing?
Tell everybody what you do in your day job, Joey.
Oh, my day job, I'm a 3-time Olympic coach, 11-time world championship coach of track and field, of course. So that's what makes a good team with me and Deontay. I come from the track and field side, and you know, I know everything there is about the fast twitch muscles, how it should work, how, you know, body analysis of things, the bioanalysis of his body, the way it's supposed to be moving. But I've been to CAC games, CAC championships, which is the Caribbean championships. Been all around the world doing what I do. You know, I was also a professional track and field runner myself, so that's what I do.
Now, it's interesting because he's notorious for saying that he doesn't do any track work. He doesn't do any track and field work. He's not a runner.
Well, he don't do a lot of long running. You know, he don't do a lot of, you know, the distance stuff because, I mean, he's 6'7". You know, it beats up his joints. And one of the things that I try to keep it at, I try to keep it as close as possible to the visualization of what he's going to use in that ring, you know, in splurks. So we do a lot of sprinting. We do a lot of agility, and it adds up to the conditioning portion of what he needs, you know what I mean? So I don't put him on the road, on the cement, where he can beat up his joints, because it's all about longevity in this game. You know, athletics, period, no matter what sport you play. You know, you want to last as long as possible, healthy as long as possible.
Now, in terms of conditioning for athletes, I mean, he's got a long, lean frame. We can see that. Where does that power for the knockouts come from?
Power, I'm gonna be honest with you. No coach can teach power. You got to be born with that. You know, the only thing that we can do as coaches, like I said before, is enhance the talent that they already have. You know, it's either you're born with it or you're not. You know what I mean? So with Deontay, like he always say, he don't have to be perfect for 12 rounds. He only got to be perfect for an oblique. You know, because he's born with the natural ability of power. You know, and him understanding his body, we do a lot of work where he's understanding his body. You know, he's understanding, you know, stability of his body, how it moves, how you know, everything there is about his own body. That's how he's able to distribute the power properly.
Mm-hmm. What sort of things does he? Now he does a lot of aquatic things. He incorporates a lot of aquatic things. What are those things, and what are you trying to get from the aquatic work that he does?
The aquatic work that he do is simple. After a long week, let's say he's going hard for Monday through Thursday, right? Well, I usually put the pool workouts on Friday because his body is so beat up throughout the week that I still want to get his heart rate up, but with no stress to the body. So when we get in the water, not only is he working on, you know, less pounding on his joints, but he's also working on his breathing. Because as y'all know, in the swimming pool, you know, lung capacity, you know, and he learns in the pool how to control that lung capacity. Because in a fight, he can't go into panic mode when he's tired. He has to be able to reserve that energy by breathing the proper way, and we do that in the pool, you know. Does
that account for the amount of stamina that he has? Because he looks as fresh in the 10th and the 11th round as he does in the first round.
Most definitely. I mean, that's where it comes from. You know, him being patient, him being calm, cool, and collect, and he's able to transfer that from the pool over to the ring. You know, he's a creature with habit, you know, and that's what we work on, is making sure that he's able to take what we do in practice and transfer it over to the square circle.
How long have you been his conditioning coach?
Oh man. Put it like this. I would say full time, probably, I want to say 2 or 3 years. But, you know, me and Deontay, we have like over 11 years, 12 years of history, where I used to just do his flexibility, you know, but now I'm full throttle on his speed and his conditioning, you know, and the strength work in the weight room as well. So, you know, we have a long history. You know, I'm familiar with him. He's familiar with me. He knows how I coach. He knows how I want things. I know how, you know how he fights, how he want things. So we kind of collab together. You know, it's not one of the things where we go into practice and, you know, hey, do this. No, I explain to him why he's doing it, and I explain to him how it's going to benefit him. And then if he's uncomfortable with something, we talk it out, and we move on to another thing that I feel like is going to work for him. So it's a collaboration.
This might sound like an odd question, but in terms of in terms of athleticism, who does he remind you of in terms of the athletes, either that you've worked with personally or that you see out there?
That's a good question. And I'm going to be totally honest with you. There's one Tiger Woods. There's one LeBron James. One Michael Jordan. There's only one Deontay Wilder. So I can't even sit here and say that, you know, he reminds me of, because he don't. He's in a league of his own, you know, and that's why he's the champion now. He's unorthodox. Unorthodox, he's weird, he's awkward, but he's efficient. You know what I mean? So, you know, a lot of people gonna have, have something to say about, because he looks awkward, but because it's only one of his kind. You've never seen nobody as awkward as intelligent in the ring as he is, being that tall and being in tune. He has his own style, you know, and that's why he's making history every time he touches that ring.
Yeah, a lot of people, myself included, I mean, I've followed boxing for a long time, and I know that if you face 40 men in the ring, you ain't going to knock out 40 men in the ring, because some guys are going to come and survive. Is there anything that accounts for, I mean, obviously he's got a right hand, but is there anything that accounts for the fact that he's knocked out, like, you know, all of these guys that he's faced?
Something that you can't teach heart. His ability to believe in himself. And like I tell people all the time, you know, Deontay is one of those guys that believe that he was put on this world to be special. He was born special. And he promised this little girl something before he even got the belt, before he even signed, fully pro. He promised the little girl something. My question is, how can you stop somebody that really believes that they're put on this earth to make history, to be great? That's hard to beat. And even in your hardest times, even in the 7th round of the last Lewis Ortiz fight, you know, you can't teach the heart that he had to hang in there. You know what I mean? That's something that's born, because he believes that he's actually put on this earth to be a champion. He believes that he's put on this earth to actually do some special things and make history. That's hard to beat. That's hard to beat, mind, body, and soul, man. You know, so you know, that's what he do, man.
Now, he's pretty much kept this same team around him. I mean, he hasn't really, you know, a lot of guys, they go through coaches, they change or anything like that. You know, can you talk a little bit about just the special nature of having the same guys around you all the time, the loyalty there?
For one, man, we don't have an entourage. You know, for two, like I say, he's been in my life for 12 years. You know, and the thing is, even with Chris, our security, and of course our point man, we all surround ourselves around positivity. You know, we come in peace. We believe in positivity of the group. Even if one of us is talking negative, we pull each other up. And I think that's what makes us so special, because we don't need a big entourage. We don't need all the bells and whistles. You know, we look at ourselves as not friends, but we look at ourselves as brothers. And in order for each and every last one of us to be successful, you know, I'm successful as an Olympic coach. You know, Chris is successful in what he do, and Deontay is successful in what he do. You know, that's not by chance. It's just something that you might be a product of your environment, but you become who you surround yourself around. And if one of us is successful, of course, we feed into that. You know, when D is down, I'm up, Chris is up. You know, we pull them up. And when I'm down, both of them pull me up. When Chris is down, we both of us pull each other up. And that's what it's about. It's a lot of people gotta understand that it's not about, all of it is not about boxing. It's about making sure that you understand your greatness, whether if it's boxing or whether if it's the people that you keep around you in order to be successful. D is not scared to lose his O. He's not scared to lose his O. He know that's part of the game. But at the end of the day, he's going to give it everything that he got to keep that O. And it's going to be hard to take that O, because he surrounded himself around so much positivity, and his mind frame is so strong.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you know that it's very difficult to keep a championship mindset, particularly, you know, it's like the old saying goes, a lot of people attribute it to different guys. You know, I first heard it attributed to Joe Louis and Sugar Ray Robinson, that it's hard to, it's hard to get up in 5 o'clock in the morning when you've been sleeping in silk pajamas. But, you know, what do you think accounts for the mentality and the hunger that he has, even though he has attained a certain level of success, and even though he's attained a certain level of financial, power?
Man, to be honest with you, Deontay still fights like he don't have a belt. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He still fights like he don't have a belt. He has a point to prove. See, it's not about the belts. It hasn't never been about the belt. What keeps him up is because he has an unfulfilled prophecy that he's trying to fulfill. You know what I mean? And that'll get any man out the bed, especially when you, like I said, when you understand your greatness. You know, that's what get me up. You know, I could easily sit back and just coach. You know, just coach so nonchalantly, but I feel like I still have some things to accomplish. Just like D. You know, he still has some things to accomplish. So that's what get him up. Yeah, it's hard to get up when you know it's days that he don't want to get up. But the thing is, he knows in order for him to reach the level that he wants and to accomplish the dreams and aspirations that he wants to, he got to get up, you know? So that's what keeps him going. Yeah, it's easy to lay in bed, but D like challenges, you know?
So, okay, so looks like now, hey, thanks Joey.
Man, blessings.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we always like this, man.
Oh, you
We've been
already
like
know,
this for a while,
bro.
right?
I love you, bro.
Good.
Most
You too,
definitely.
bro.
Thank you.
Okay, man. So now he's
Final
gonna.
three, the magnificent three.
Okay, so so Deontay is now gloving up. He's gonna get in the ring and do some sparring, and this is where, you know, no one is gonna be able to watch the sparring or, you know, see what's going on. So we're gonna take this opportunity to spend a little bit of time, you know, talking to. We're gonna spend a little bit of time, and I'm gonna sit for this one. Yeah, let's sit for this one. And you grab that mic there. You want to share? Okay. Oh, I'm so old. and I'm not nearly as fly as my brother here, who's always the cleanest man in boxing, you know. But now we were talking about this a little bit. You know, this fight on November 23rd, you know, PBC Fox pay-per-view, you know, rematch between Wilder and Ortiz. What do you think makes this special?
Well, I think it makes it special because you look at the first fight. The first fight was just full of excitement. You know, there were scary moments in the fight for both guys. Obviously, with Ortiz having Deontay hurt in the 7th round, and then Deontay picking it up down the stretch. And I have to commend Deontay for taking on this rematch. I mean, who does that? Who does that? I mean, you know, to have that type of mentality to want to go back to battle with a guy that nobody wants to fight. You know, you really you gotta respect that. You gotta respect that because they were the naysayers out there that, you know, felt as though that Ortiz exposed him, you know. And I love the fact that Deontay has that mindset. He wants to go back and shut all that down. You know, Floyd did the same thing, you know, in the Castillo rematch. So I know a thing or two about these rematches and the mindset going in. That's why I'm very, very excited come November 23rd to see what happens.
Now you mentioned the Castillo rematch. And for all the people that are out there. Oh, he wants you to use a second mic. Okay. You got to just talk a little bit louder. You mentioned the Castillo match. You're talking about Floyd Mayweather and Jose Luis Castillo, the first match, which I obviously thought Floyd won the first match. I thought it was close. But you mentioned that match and going into the rematch. And you talked a little bit about the mentality, but take me through the mentality that Floyd had going through that rematch.
Yeah, he wanted to prove all the naysayers wrong. I mean, they said that they thought there were some guys out there, media guys, and some of the fans thought that he won the first fight. And Floyd said, let's run that shit back. Let's run it back. Let's run it back. I'm going to prove to the world that this guy's not better than me. And we all saw what happened. He did the same thing in the first fight. You know, he just did it better. You know, and I think going into this rematch with Ortiz, Deontay has that same kind of mindset. That's why me, you know, been in boxing for all these years, I respect what he's doing. He wants to take on this challenge that no one else is willing to do. These are the kind of things that, in my opinion, that what separates Wilder from any of the other heavyweights out there.
A lot of people, you know, look at this as maybe not as difficult of a rematch that he could take. But at the same time, you don't see a lot of people running to Luis Ortiz's door and knocking it on that door and wanting that fight with him. So how do you think Ortiz will do in this rematch? Do you think it's an easy match for Wilder?
Let's be clear. There's nothing easy about Ortiz, and it's a reason why that he's been one of the most avoided fighters in the heavyweight division, because he brings a different dynamic to the table. And one thing I can say about him, just even because I went to his workout last week, he's physically fit, and he will be in the best shape of his life. That's what's going to make this for a very, very interesting fight.
Yeah. Now, we were talking earlier about some of the rematches in the heavyweight division, some of the classic rematches. Nobody's saying this is Ali Frazier 2 or even Ali Frazier 3, but there have been. Okay, they're giving the instructions for the sparring now, so there's going to not be any kind of taping for sparring. That's traditionally that happens in all boxing gyms, but we were talking about some of the heavyweight rematches. Lennox Lewis had rematches against Oliver McCall. Had rematches against Asim Rahman. Yep, no streaming. The stream is on the star of the stream. He had the rematch obviously with Evander Holyfield. Holyfield had the rematch with Tyson. He had several rematches with John Ruiz, but there's something about heavyweight rematches that's something interesting. What do you make of? And I'll tell you what I think of heavyweight rematches. But what do you make of heavyweight rematches?
Heavyweight rematches. These guys, they're so big and so strong, they can get you out of there at any given time. And that's what I think that brings Deontay has a different dynamic when it comes to any fight that he's in. And another thing that I'm very impressed with, everyone talks about his 1-2 and that he only has a right hand. But one thing that being a big boxing fan and knowing all the things that go on behind the scenes and how these great fighters prepare, Deontay has developed some other things in his arsenal, and he's done it fight by fight, where it's kind of like been a on-the-job training kind of thing, and where I think that he's at the point now, I think we'll see some different kind of things coming into this rematch that we didn't see before, and he'll be able to, because he obviously is very comfortable in the ring with Ortiz. He's seen everything what he's bringing to the table. But I still think this fight ends in a knockout, and I think the fight ends very early.
Yeah, to me, traditionally heavyweight rematches, particularly with Lennox Lewis's rematches, there was always something bitter about the first fight. There was like a really bad. He always had a bad taste going from the first fight was always just a bad taste. But in this rematch, I mean, maybe Ortiz has a bad taste for the way that it ended, but it ended so decisively for his part. You wonder mentally, how he looks at it. Does he look at the seventh round as a moment that slipped away, that I could have done this, and is that what a guy like that hangs on to? Does he hang on to that seventh round, knowing that he had him and he let him off the hook? Is that what that guy thinks in that particular situation?
That too, and his fitness. I can honestly say that I've spoke with him in depth, and that he wasn't in the best shape coming into the fight, because he really, all these years of training, he hadn't really had a conditioner, a strength and conditioning coach at the level, especially as he has now. He has Larry Wade, who's, in my opinion, he's probably the best in the business. He's
another track coach.
Yes, true. And he's worked with Porter. He's worked with Caleb Plant, Badu Jack. He's done wonders with them as far as their conditioning and having them prepared. And he's working with Ortiz this time. And it was ironic because when we had the press conference in L.A., I ran into Ortiz at the airport, and I didn't even recognize him. He was really slim. I looked and I was like, oh man, I was like, you in great shape already. So that was one of the, and at that point I didn't know he was working with Wade. And then I got word that he was working with Wade, and I said, okay, well, he's putting himself in the best situation to be successful, to go out and win this big fight. And that's what he's doing. And in camp last week at his training day, he was in great shape. So, again, we're going to have a great fight for as long as it lasts.
Now, you're a resident of Las Vegas. This fight is in Las Vegas. You know, Las Vegas has seen everything. You know, where does this fight fit into the fights that, you know, the recent fights that we've seen in Las Vegas? Where does it fit into those fights?
It's huge because with Deontay Wilder has put himself in a position, he's must-see TV. You know, so you have fans from all over the world who have been coming to his fights, and Las Vegas is the place to be, the MGM Grand Arena, where the most historic fights have taken place in Las Vegas. He'll be there November 23rd, looking to put on a great show for the fans across the world. And again, it's going to be the city's going to be on fire. We have a tremendous undercard. So top to bottom, it's going to be a great show, and the fans, I think that's all they're talking about. That's all everyone's talking about. They can't wait to see Wilder in the rematch against Ortiz November 23rd.
And sort of put the heavyweight division as it stands right now into some kind of perspective for everybody. You know, where is the heavyweight division? There seems to be a lot of excitement, you know, around it right now.
Well, I have to be very honest. Deontay Wilder is the reason why the heavyweight division is where it is right now. Deontay Wilder single-handedly has put the heavyweight division back on the map. Prior to that, we were in the Floyd Mayweather business, in the pay-per-view business, and it was all about the smaller weight classes. And since Floyd is retired, Deontay has changed that. He single-handedly has put the heavyweights on his back and made that division the most talked about division that's out there now, and that's why the division is very exciting. And I think that, you know, there are a number of the other heavyweights that are very, very good, but all roads lead through Deontay Wilder.
Yeah. The longest reigning heavyweight champion. He
Wow. Yeah, I mean, this is the 10th defense, and again, he wants all the smoke. That's what I love about him. He wants to fight them all, and if he could, you know, do it all in one night, he would. You know, and that's another thing that I admire about him. The smartest thing that man has ever done, he's taken control of his own career. When he stood up and refused that BS offer from Matchroom or whatever, that showed me that he was a man on a mission and he was about his business. He was betting on himself. And what better situation to put the onus on yourself, win. That's all he knows how to do is win. But he's responsible for the direction of his career, and you got to respect that. You got to respect that.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about a guy who does that? I mean, obviously you were with Floyd, and he did that so successfully, and you know, and did it at a point in his career when he was on the ascent. And you know, the same thing with Deontay. Do you see some similarities there between the business decision that Floyd made and the business decision that he made?
That's what I'm comparing it to. Yeah. That's why I think when it comes to, and I have a great deal of respect for all the fighters in the sport, but when it comes to having a great business mind, Deontay's picked up right where Floyd left off, because again he has the potential that, you know, he's the one guy that can go out there. And make 9 figures in one night. Deontay Wilder can do that, and he's put all these other heavyweights in that position to be able to be part of greatness. You know, when you look at a Deontay Wilder event, you know, it's the most talked about thing, you know, that's going on, and he's created that excitement and that energy out there with the fans, you know, by having that one-hitter quitter, you know, because that's what the fans want to see. They want to see knockouts. And when you come to a Deontay Wilder fight, he's shown you that in 41 fights and 40 of the guys he's clipped. Yeah. You know, he's must-see TV.
Yeah. And the you know, you mentioned it earlier, just wanting to continue to make the big fights. As you said, he wants all the smoke. And there has to be something in the mentality of a guy in terms of the confidence level that, he has to be able to do that, because what you've seen a lot of is guys making decisions to sort of avoid doing that, or calling it a business decision to, we're going to build up to that, or we're going to not take this, or we're going to go into professional wrestling or whatever.
He wants it all, and again, I really, really respect that, especially, knowing firsthand and having an integral role in Floyd's career, where he's looking at things, and again, he's putting everything on himself. The success or failure lies within him. He's in control of that. He's the boss.
But doesn't that make a guy nervous, though, when he's put all of that on his shoulders and he says, oh, I got to do this, or this ain't going to happen? Or is that just part of the challenge?
No, that's part of the challenge, and that's what separates him from any of the other fighters, because of his confidence. And if he say he going to do it, he goes out there and executes it. And again, those are the kind of things that I really, really respect, because, again, he wants to fight everybody. He wants to fight everybody because he feels as though he's the best that's out there. And what he has taken on that responsibility that none of the other heavyweights want to do. And I think that's what really separates him from that, because, again, he wants it all. He wants it all. And it doesn't matter who it is. The top heavyweights out there, he wants to fight each and every one of them.
Is there a difference, and you talked a little bit about business, is there a difference between the heavyweight business and all the other business in boxing?
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. Again, Deontay Wilder has the ability to go out there and make 9 figures in one night. And I think if he's successful in the Ortiz rematch, that's what I'm pretty confident that we'll see in the Fury rematch. And I think that if he's successful in getting through Ortiz on November the 23rd, I think that he'll roll right over into that fight, and I think that he knocks him out within 4 or 5 rounds this go round.
Wow. Yeah. Again, another rematch if he makes it through Ortiz. Another rematch on the horizon with Fury. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but
that's what I say. If he can get through Ortiz, he has a huge mega fight that lies ahead of him, the top of 2020.
Yeah, and he doesn't. The thing that I've noticed with him is he doesn't really talk about Fury. He hasn't said very much about Fury. I mean, he's made some comments about the wrestling and everything, but he never talks about, when I get in a ring with him, or he's sort of focused on Ortiz. I mean, does that give you a sense that he's taking this Ortiz match very seriously?
Well, he better. He better be taking it very seriously, and he's the type of guy that, again, he's gotten better and better each fight. That's why, I was actually saying this to Floyd the other day. I said, they done messed around and let that man then learn his trade, and he got this to go along with it too. Oh, he's gonna be hell to deal with.
Yeah, talk about that ring IQ. I talked about it a little bit here, but you just alluded to it. But you can sort of see that growing, with each and every fight, that he sort of absorbs, he absorbs the lessons from each fight, and he just sort of, goes into the next fight either more confident or more skilled at what he does. It was actually the knockout of Ortiz was a picture perfect, right uppercut, and people talk about, oh, he's wild, he throws this or whatever, but the thing that he lays you out with is always picture perfect.
Because, again, he has been learning on the job as we go. I mean, we know that he started boxing at a late age, and he's had an incredible amount of success in such a short period of time. And what he's been able to do each and every fight, as you mentioned earlier, he's been able to take something from each fight and get better and better and better. And, again, he's done put it all together now. And that's why I say he's going to be hard to deal with. He's going to be hard to deal with because now he understands the business. He understands what's going on in the ring, and his IQ right now is at an all-time high to go along with he has a great deal of confidence, as we all know. And when you combine all those things, that's what you get. You get a guy that comes into a fight and that he feels as though that he can't be beaten, and he's going to destroy any and everything in front of him.
Can you talk a little bit, and I asked Joey about this earlier, but can you talk a little bit about just having the continuity of the same team around and just having, the not the sameness, but just having the routine, like when you come to camp, this is going to happen. These are going to be the same people that you see. These are going to be the same people that you trust, going into a fight. Can you talk a little bit about the continuity of your team around you?
Sure. Fighters are a creature of habit. When it comes to especially the elite level fighters, they like things done a certain kind of way, a rhythm, things done the same way all the time. And when you have a good solid team, you build that continuity. They know what the expectations are day in and day out of the person that they're working with. And again, it takes a team effort to do everything, especially in this sport. Deontay wouldn't be as great a fighter as he is if he didn't have a good team around him to help prepare him to not only for the things inside the ring, but the things outside the ring. That's what teamwork is all about, and it's very, very critical to the success of any athlete in sports, just not fighters. To be successful is to have a very good team around you, and he has a very good team around him, and it's a small, tight-knit group that they have a mutual respect, and they get things done.
Yeah. Well, he's gone through, I guess this is his second sparring partner, and I guess I see one of his other sparring partners just sort of stretching and getting ready to go in there. But, you watched a lot of guys, spar and get prepared and everything. Can you talk about this portion of just, when a guy is like sparring and getting ready, how important maybe that final 2 weeks is to the preparation of getting ready for a big fight, just either mentally or physically?
Yeah, and each fighter is different. I was actually having a good conversation with Jay with some with their mental approach coming down the stretch on how they prepare for their fights. It's different, obviously, because he's a different type of athlete, fighter, with being a heavyweight. So it's, it's a little different. But the preparation is critical, especially coming down the stretch, because there are certain technical things that they're working on, to prepare them. We're less 2.5 weeks out. Coming down the stretch, there are technical things that they're kind of finishing up. Obviously, he has a lot of muscle memory from the things. With it being a rematch, he's been in there. He saw everything that he needed to see, but now I think it's more so working on the fine-tuning things that he needs to do to be able to dictate what's going to happen on November 23rd.
Yeah. And you mentioned something with muscle memory and with being in there before. I mean, he was nearly out of there in the seventh round. Does that play any kind of part, you think, in his mentality of how he approaches this guy?
I think it does in a positive way, because I think in his mind that he's not gonna come in with the mentality that I gotta pay you back, but I think he wants to send a clear message to not only to Ortiz, but to all the other heavyweights. Yeah, he's gonna destroy any and everything in front of him. Right. He saw the best of Ortiz at that time, on that night, and again, like you said, he was in danger zone in that seventh round, but I think that he learned a lot from that. He knows that Ortiz has the ability to hurt him, but I think that from round one, has the mindset that he wants to get started a little faster and dictate the pace on what their game plan is.
Yeah. How important do you think it's going to be for him to be able to establish that, to be able to, establish that this is my ring, I'm the champion, and I'm not going to give you too much respect in this fight?
And I think in the first fight he did that. I think in the first fight he probably gave Ortiz a little bit too much respect, but we all saw how the fight ended, and I think that round one will pick up from then. We will see the best Ortiz. A better version of Ortiz in this fight than we saw in the last fight. I know for a fact, especially from his conditioning standpoint, he's going to be definitely in the best shape of his life to be able to have the ability to fight as long as the fight lasts and to be effective at whatever his game plan is. But Deontay Wilder has a different kind of mindset of picking up from that last round of how that fight ended and being able to execute some of the things that he's been working on in camp and through a few of his last fights where, again, I noticed that some of the little subtle things that he's doing in fights that he wasn't doing before, and I picked up on it. I was like, oh, okay, he did that in the Fury fight, and obviously we only saw a glimpse of the Brazil fight because it was over so quick. But it's just little things that when you have the experience, that I have from being in the sport, that notice that this guy, again, his IQ is at an all-time high right now, and they done messed around and let this man learn this trade on the job.
Yeah. You notice in the Brazil fight, and Deontay has finished sparring now. He went 6 rounds, 2 rounds with each of the 3 sparring partners that he had. So we're going to go over in a few minutes. As soon as he cools down, we're going to go over and do the interview portion of this. But he's got to calm down, do some stretching and stuff. So we got a few more minutes here. But did you notice in the Brazil fight how he positioned his chin? when you slowed it down, Leonard, he positioned his chin right here, and he followed it with the right hand. I mean, that was like old school.
Textbook. It was textbook. I mean, and again, it was an incredible display of power, and he had the mindset of going in and knowing what he was going to be able to do, just like in the Ortiz fight. I know, because this is the fighter's mentality, he has a visual of how the fight's going to play out. There's certain things that he's been working on and little tricks that, again, I'm very impressed at how he's improved, where his IQ is. I'm very, very impressed with that.
Yeah. And you were around one of the guys who had one of the highest boxing IQs.
Oh, he's had the highest IQ ever. I mean, Floyd could do something in 2, setting you up for what he's going to do in round 7. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's just little things like that. And again, Deontay his confidence is at an all-time high right now, and we're going to have a great fight come November 23rd.
Thanks a lot, Leonard. I appreciate it. Leonard Ellerby, president of Mayweather Promotions.
CEO.
I'm sorry. CEO of
Floyd is the president.
Floyd's the president, CEO of Mayweather Promotions, and also one of the promoters of this fight, Wilder Ortiz 2, November 23rd, MGM Grand Garden Arena, where all the great fights happen, Las Vegas, PBC on Fox Sports pay-per-view. Don't miss it. Now we're going to go over here and talk to Deontay as he cools down, and we're going to do some Q&As. Again, Leonard, thanks, man. Appreciate it. We're going to go over here. Do I take this mic over? Yeah. Okay.
Especially like August, September in here, and helmets. Oh man, I don't know. Right.
So I'm going to probably be on that side. We're going to do the Q&A on that side. Whoa, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Never mind, Will.
Yeah, we're gonna do the Q&A over here.
Hey, I'll be right with you.
Okay.
How'd I do?
Great. Fantastic. We're gonna do a Q&A over here.
Singing you this song, telling you my story. That shit feel good though. It does.
my invention.
Put them thing up in your
Hey.
face.
Hey, that's called the threesome. Break somebody's knuckle. You ought to be a chiropractor. No, you should. You ought to just keep the one we got. Keep the one we got. Hey, I'm telling you what, my headaches have gone away. And when I say headaches, I was having real headaches. Once he cracked
them neck.
he did it twice.
Oh, he did.
Tell him to sound like a shotgun.
Man,
He
Jay,
did this way, then that way.
Jay was like, man, that's not cracking a pop. I was like, God,
It was all that.
Cuz.
My shit was like,
Cuz.
Hey, Mark came in that bitch like this. He left that mother like this.
yeah.
Mark said, I couldn't do this.
Yeah.
Now I can do this.
We're going to bring him for
Yeah,
the
he not.
future fights. I figured I'm going to budget him in somehow. I'm not going to ask him to do it tonight. We can bring him in, what I'm saying. But we need to get some treatment out of him.
You got all my track record.
He's good. He knows his stuff. And he knows his tape. He knows every inch of his tape.
You know the body too. The body.
He was just remember that. Wow, today.
That's why everybody was doing it. No hospital. World Championship fight, that's how all those survive. Because this is just a mistake.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, I haven't had headaches since, and believe me, I've had a lot to have headaches about it. Just had headaches. Hey, this part they don't see. They only see
They don't know all of this. All of this right here.
Hey, we don't bring in no sacrificial lamb. We bring in guys come to fight.
Quick right here.
Preparation is everything.
Many times I felt like shit, fuck this.
Right?
Well, I only got 6 more years, I'm done. 6 more years, I'm out. Farewell.
That's what it's all about, man. That mentality.
I know, don't you? Only a pillow felt like that. That's why I love it, man. I love just being in control, being able to do your own, you know what I'm saying? You just like you want.
Go ahead and set up my tripod.
Put yourself in a situation where it's like your own boss. You dictate the terms of everything. You know what I'm saying? And now,
You understand it.
Hey, Dennis.
one night,
Dennis.
one night.
No, man.
Get the other Dennis over here by you. Get the other Dennis. Get the other Dennis over here by you.
You already know,
They
man.
sick.
Man,
They sick.
man. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
They only knew. They only knew.
They only know.
Right. They're looking at them numbers, man. It's like, man. Right.
I got you.
Yeah.
I'm bigger than that.
Yeah.
I'm putting everything to me.
Exactly.
This towel. Put it behind you. This towel.
I'm betting on me.
Self. Ain't no way to feel it. Bet on yourself,
Bet
man.
on yourself. You can't go wrong. You ain't gonna let yourself down.
Hey, man.
You ain't gonna let yourself down.
I'll be alright. I'll be alright. I'll be alright. You gonna let yourself down. There you go.
No, never.
Kids,
That's
too.
what I'm saying. Come on, man.
Kill.
What? What? I said that. I said, you and got the confidence. I said, we don't stop.
They don't
You got
believe.
the right team.
They don't believe. They gonna see it. They gonna watch it.
Man,
watching.
Alabama's had Tanner Holyfield, Joe Lewis, Ernie Shavers. Something in the water.
That's it.
These guys from Alabama can punch.
Yeah, that's it.
Deontay Wilder, biggest puncher in the world.
All right, what's next?
Over
here.
We're going to go get some.
Let's get it done.
Dennis get one picture in front of mine.
Not your word. Not
Come
your
here,
word.
Dennis.
Not your
Dennis.
word. Not your word. Y'all got a history.
I get it from
Let me clear my throat. Okay.
Get one picture. These are friends of mine from childhood and his dad.
And I met him at the block party years ago.
At the block party, baby. We was at the block party. Yes, sir.
Thank you guys.
Good to see you.
Oh man.
Hey, Jay.
I know also well the story.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Jay. Can we kill the fans?
Jim, we need the fans off.
Yeah, please.
Let's go get these fans off.
Get that towel for me. All right.
See if you can find a button over here. It'll give you a lot better sound. Should be a button.
My stream guy. You in or you set up there? I'm wet too. I ain't even gonna touch that. I'm trying to be professional, man. Come on, you're gonna get me fired. I like this job.
You look good doing it, Tim.
Thank you, sir. So we're gonna just open it up now. I'm not gonna talk anymore because I'm sick of talking. So, we're gonna open it up for questions from the media. And okay, guys, go ahead.
Jim, hey, first of all, congrats off the last
Oh, and can you tell us who you're with so we can get that for the stream?
Scotty White Ball Combat Sports.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, congrats once again, coming off that victory. You're heading there for one of your toughest rematch, giving Luis King Kong Ortiz a second try. What you think you need to do different in the first half of the fight than was in the first one?
With Ortiz, he's a very smart fighter. He's a counterpuncher. He's great at what he does. I can understand why I'm the only person in the top 10, top 5, really, getting him an opportunity. What I didn't do in the last fight, I think I didn't throw enough jabs at him. My feet. I would say I can place my feet in position a little bit more as well. Being that the movement that we have, it's very awkward when you have an orthodox and a southpaw in there. We all know that, and just little minor things. I think I did very well under the conditions that I was under at that moment of time in the fight, and I'm looking forward to having a great fight with him this time around as well.
Deontay, Jay on studio with Dark Horse Boxing. You just mentioned before something about 6 years and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to be undisputed in 2020, let's just say maybe Ruiz beats Joshua, you turn around, fight Ruiz and beat him, does that timeline become less than 6 years?
No, 6 years is my max that I'm planning to finish my career off in. It's a beautiful thing to be able to have a team that I started with and I have a team that I'm going to finish with. It's amazing that when we first started this thing, we had plans of the beginning, how we wanted my career to unfold and how things to be structured. And things, I can't say things went as planned. I think that's why as a human being, personally, I don't really plan things as I go. I go off of the energy of everything. Everything I go off of the energy. And because, in life, we know that sometimes things don't go as planned. And we know that it has happened in my career. But, it's great to have a group of guys that has my best interest in heart, ultimately, and want to see me rise to the very top. And now with them same people that we was planning, the beginning, the unfolding, the revealing of who I am, we're planning the ending as well too. And I think the ending it feel a little bit sweeter than the beginning, because in the beginning you have a long task ahead of you and you just don't know what the roads, may lead along the path. And, as being a professional and as I've been in it thus far and so long and accomplished what I've accomplished, I'm smiling at the end. I'm gonna smile all the way in the end, being able to say that, I did the best I can in the heavyweight division. I brought a lot of excitement to the heavyweight division. I brought a lot of drama, and I brought a lot of dramatic, devastating knockouts.
And when all that's said and done, do you become a movie star, a politician? What's the move?
I'm looking for the movies. You know, my passion is acting. You know, I've been doing my thing thus far, and I've been killing it on the scene, and I'm very passionate about it. And I'm looking to do a lot of great things in the acting field. You know, I'm a certified scuba diver as well. I'm looking to explore more in the ocean, down in the waters. Something that's very unknown to a lot of people. You know, I love being down there, and a lot of more other things. Spending time with family, watching the kids grow. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a beautiful thing once it starts.
Champ, is it any truth that you may be starring in Creed sometime in the near future?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna have a Creed, another Creed or not. You know what I mean? There has been rumors to be said, you know, about that. And if the opportunity comes about, I'm definitely the man for the job.
What did you think of the internet basically saying that you would be Clubber Lane's son in the Creed 2 movie?
Yeah, I mean, I'm up for that part. You know, I think that I definitely can fit that description. You know what I mean? Especially with my attitude, with the looks, you know, my demeanor as I approach boxing. You know, long as they have me knocking somebody out, because that's what I do in my regular life. You know what I mean? I'm a knockout artist. You know, so if the opportunity comes about, I'll definitely be interested in it.
What's your selection process on? I know you have King Kong Ortiz coming up, but who would you like to see out of Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua, win their next fight so you can face him in the unification?
I mean, I like Andy Ruiz. I liked him in the first fight, and I like him in the second fight as well. In my opinion, I think it's an even more bigger fight, you know, between the two. You know, especially how he won the first time. And it's all going to determine if he's able to win the second time. You know, with Joshua, you know, we tried many times to get that fight unfold, to make a dream fight happen, you know, for the fans, to unify the division, to have one champion, one face, one name. And as you can see, that was a long process, a process where, you know, we had you know, different mile markers being stretched. Once we completed, we had to do something else. We had to do this, you know what I mean? It was a lot. You know, this is a gladiator sport. This is a man's sport, and I'm a grown man. I don't have time for games. Being that Ruiz is under the same stable as much easier fight to make, and I think an even more exciting fight as well, being that what he did and you know, and how the Mexican people are supporting him.
Champ, it seems like, you know, at first Tyson Fury was all about the rematch with you, and now it seems like he's starting to walk back some of those comments and he's maybe less interested than before in the rematch. Do you think that he still wants that fight the same way that he did before? And if not, why?
Now, Fury I don't think he ever wanted the rematch, you know what I mean? A lot of people gave him sympathy off of mental illness, but that's something that 9 out of 10 of us have faced all the time, you know what I mean? Many of us have thought about suicide or doing a lot of things. So, you know, being that he was from another country and coming over into this country, you know, in America, we always feel sorry for people, especially if they're not of this country. You know, I even had people come to admit to me, like, I'm not going to even lie to Deontay, I wanted him to win because of his story. Everybody want a winning story or whatever. And for him, I felt like he wanted to come in and fight me and say he fought me. A lot of people gave him a moral victory, and you know, he wanted to run with that. I don't think he ever wanted the rematch because I have power. You know what I mean? I look at it over and over again. Even with me, when I look back at my fights, after I fight, I look at it as a fan, because when I'm in the ring, I'm not who I am now. I really transform my mind, my body, you know, my soul, you know. That's why I'm able to say the things that I say and really mean what I say, you know. And with that being said, how he got dropped, his eyes going back in his head, neck stretched out like that, you know, his family his wife don't want to see it, brothers, dad don't want to see it. You know, dad even said that he ain't getting up this time, and I guarantee he won't, you know. And with that, when you have all those talks, he have to go back, and the only thing he could promote from the fight is him getting up off the ground. You don't want to, as a fighter, you don't want to feel that again. You know, you just don't want to get hit in the face and see your body on the canvas doing that, because you don't know what's going to happen the next time. And we know, man, lives are being taken in this sport. So I can understand him running. You know, he can run as far as he can, you know what I mean? But he got to remember he signed the contract. You know what I mean? And when you sign something, anybody know that the pen is a silent warrior. You know what I mean? You're going to have to pay consequences to getting out of that. So the fight will happen unless they give up some money.
Did you catch him on WWE?
I didn't. How did he do?
I mean, it's whatever. It's
Scored a
wrestling.
knockout with a right hand.
Did he? That ain't realistic. Well, good for him, man. You know, I'm always excited to see, you know, fighters on the outside of boxing being able to do things because, you know, people looking in on boxing, they think that as us as fighters that we just one dimension. That's how we do fight. We should train and fight, but we're still people. We're still fathers. We still, you know, we can do so many other things besides just fighting. I tell people, you know, I'm a great guy. You know what I mean? In person, in the ring, I'm just a man that can whoop your ass as well. You know what I mean? It's that transformation. And that's just what it's all about, you know. So I'm always happy to see, you know, fighters do other things than beside boxing.
WBC crowned Saul Canelo Alvarez and Vasily Lomachenko franchise champions. What do you have to say about that? And you one of the second longest reigning WBC champions this era right now.
I mean, if Canelo accepts it, you know what I mean, and he happy with it, then congratulations. You know, that's really all I can say about it. Many people ask me about the franchise belt or whatever. I don't know much about it. I'm you know, it's what I'm hearing that allows you to stay a champion. You don't have to fight mandatories and stuff like that. And if that's the case, then I'm not interested in that. Yeah, I want the mandatory. That's what makes the sport. Guys work their way up, work hard to become number one and number two, and then become a mandatory. Why would you crown someone that eliminates all that? You don't have mandatories and different things like that. I love to be able to have a mandatory, him sitting, and the more he wait, the more he get frustrated about certain things, and then when the fight comes, you had me waiting all this time. I'm ready. You know, it's always the build up to the fight. And when you take that away, when you take certain things away from boxing, you know what I mean? You take the charisma away from it. You take the excitement away from it. And that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to take the excitement away from anyone. You know, I'm a dangerous fighter. I have, you know, a devastating right hand. And, you know, that's all I've been doing throughout my career, giving people, the fans, what they want to see. And that's knockouts. It's good to see guys go in there and, you know, go from 1 round to 12 rounds, boxing and showing skill. But at the end of the day, people got something to do. And they want to see knockouts. You know, they want something they say, damn, that was a great fight. And that's what I give people, you know. So hopefully, you know, nothing come my way about a franchise belt. You know, I don't have nothing against guys that have taken it and stuff. I'm just listening to the fans, and I'm listening to my heart as well, too. I don't think being a franchise champion would fit me. If they want to, you know, if they want to get someone else that belt over me, then I'm fine with that.
You baptized Ortiz the first one. What's your prediction for the second one this month?
Well, I'm looking to beat him in even more, you know, dramatic fashion. You know, when I fought Ortiz the first time, I had a terrible flu to the point where even when I was walking out in the tunnel, I was spitting up mucus. And the proper protocols for that is to call the fight off. You know, give yourself a little bit more time to heal, and then get a fight camp up, and then announce a new date for the fight. But you know, I'm always hard-headed. I'm the type of one of those fighters that like to be a myth buster in boxing. You know what I mean? You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't. And you know, I like to prove people wrong, and I have many times. And a lot of things that we say that a boxer don't supposed to do, you know what I mean? I does it, and just to see. And I do it on a high level. You know what I mean? One day I say I'm gonna write a book, and I'm gonna tell you all the things that I've done in my career that, you know, that is not of a fighter to do. And as you can see, I still knock guys out.
Deontay, this is Pedro Justice from I Am on Sports TV.
What's up, baby?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. What can you do on November 23rd to show Luis Ortiz and the whole boxing world that you're the baddest man on the planet?
That's right. The one thing I can do is like he said before, he'd rather have been stretched out. And that's what I'm planning to do, is stretch him out. Plain and simple.
What round?
You know, I have never been good with predictions. You know what I mean? I go in and do my thing, but, you know, my energy leans to, you know, what, just be careful in the first round. I'm a type of fighter that you can't blink. You're on the edge of your seat. You can't go to the bathroom. You can't look down. You can't drop your cell phone. You can't be late. You can't go to the concession stand, nor when you go get those last piece of wings, because you're gonna be the one that say, what happened? I'm just that type of fighter. I'm a type of fighter that you even stand up the whole time. I seen people in the first Ortiz going back looking at standing up the whole time, looking, because I'm a type of fighter that you don't know what's gonna happen. You know it's coming, you just don't know when.
A lot of fighters of your stature at this point in their career would probably be living in LA or doing camp in Vegas or one of the bigger cities. What keeps you here in Alabama, in your home state? In general,
I mean, you said it. My home state. It's you know, I get so much peace here. You know what I mean? So much. It just, yeah, I mean, peace is very important to me. You know, I get my serenity here. I get a lot of love here. You know what I mean? I stay out right on top of the mountains of the lake. I got an island that I stay on, and it's beautiful. You know what I mean? I love being here, feeling the energy of the people, feeling the energy of the air. You know, and it's one of those things that say, I made it here. Why move? Why go anywhere else? After the Olympics, I had so many people try to draw me away from here. Oh, this country place here. But, you know, it's all up inside of how you feel, you know. So many people don't even know what real peace is because they always moving. They always have to go. And even when they get a little bit of time to themselves, they don't know how to evaluate it and use it. But when I come here, especially with the occupation that I have, I need it. I need to be able to have something to release when things have gotten so complicated and hectic for me. I need somewhere to go where I can just sit amongst the stars. I tell people all the time, where I live at, I have a place, an open mic I have an open mic to the universe, and the stars and the moons is my witness. You know what I mean? I'm able to, man, it's just peaceful, you know.
Are your neighbors like used to you at this point? Heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder walking his dog, or?
Like I said, I live on an island, so I only have one neighbor, and she a mile away down. You know what I mean? And her name is Lisa. She's from Germany, and she swims still, you know, in the lake back and forth. She's been in tremendous shape, and she motivates me. When I see her, I'm motivated because this woman probably about in her 80s, probably early 90s. And she still work out, she still walk, she still swim laps because her son, you know, he went to the University of Vanderbilt, and he's a swimmer. He was a swimmer there, and you know, it's just I think they got a long line of swimmers in their family, and she still does it to this day. And she get in that lake. I would never swim as long as she swim, you know. So that's something that I say, man, I gotta build my confidence doing something like that. You know what I mean? I get in the kayak, I get in the boats and do different things, but with her, you know what I mean? She's amazing, you know, and that's another part. Every time you see me, hey, Deontay, she call me Deontay. It ain't changing. Hey, Deontay. I'm like, hey, Miss Lisa. But it's just a beautiful place to be here. Although I have multiples of property in different states and stuff, you know what I mean? They all give me different energy. But it's just something like, it's no place like home when I'm training and doing what I got to do, and then I'm ready for the world.
All right, we're going to take one more. Oh, God.
Deontay, you kind of, you're surrounded by all these journalists and all these boxing journalists, all this media. I imagine it's probably a different look than the way it was when you first started. Can you give us a perspective on what this world is like now than what it was when you first started out boxing?
Man, it's getting crazier and crazier, you know, but I think I'm the man for the job, you know. My life is definitely not easy, but all the things I have going on in my life, I mean, it's crazy. And the position that I'm in, you know, from the beginning, I remember when we used to have to scrape up money to go get sparring and travel to go through things, scrape up money to even eat traveling, and you know what I mean? And the gym was even smaller than this, you know what I mean? Which I like a rough looking gym, you know what I mean? It allows you to be able to even more go into focus, you know what I mean? Because when you look around, it's nothing. It don't like, you know, it look like trash and stuff. But the best fighters come out of, you know, rural areas and rugged gyms, you know what I mean? I like to keep that environment in that space. Although I do have plans for other things or whatever, but at this point we love it. We love to be amongst it. But now, you know, it's just to the point where you done gained so much success and you're able to do whatever you want at this point. Like I could do whatever I want at this point in time in my life. I can go so many different places. I could have left this place long time. I could have switched up trainers and stuff, but loyalty is a very important thing for me in my life. And as you can see, I still have the same team. I'm still training in the same gym. You know, although we pull up in Rolls Royces in this motherfucker, but it's just the beauty of it. It just let you know success and the love that is here. You know, all my guys have my best interest in heart. All my guys love me, want to see me make it. And I allow them to come along as well as my brothers. I've been around them for a long time. We think the same way. We move the same way. We come in peace, like I tell everybody. Only time you'll see me doing anything is somebody break the peace. But, you know, I always teach my guys, you know, as I make it, I allow them to, you know, I tell them certain things that what I've inquired from other people that I probably hung around, or, you know, someone I'm trying to become, you know what I mean, or get tips from them, I share it with them. You know, everyone has levels, and as a king, I want my guys to be kings. That way they can lead their own kingdom with the knowledge that they have. They say the only way to become wise if you must apply knowledge to your life to become wise, because age don't bring you wisdom. You can be an old fool as well. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of it.
Okay, King Deontay the first.
Hey, I like that.
We're going to sign off the stream now. Thank you very much, champ. And
Blessings.
on November the 23rd,
Yes.
Las Vegas, where you won your first title.
Man, I've been there in a long time.
And you coming back to defend it for the 10th time. That's mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
10th time you're coming back. So everybody tune in. Fox PBC Sports pay-per-view. Deontay Wilder, the longest reigning heavyweight champion, the king of the heavyweight division, is going to be fighting Luis Ortiz, a man that everybody was afraid to step into the ring. You're going to run it back with him, though.
They calling me crazy.
They're calling you crazy. Yeah. You ain't crazy.
I ain't
You know what
crazy
you're doing.
at all.
You're crazy like a fox.
Hey, you know.
But we're going to sign off the stream here. Deontay's got some other things he's going to do. Thanks for joining us, and tune into the fight. And Deontay is going to do questions on Instagram, on his Instagram page. So he's going to do that now, so you guys can tune in there and ask the champ some of your own personal questions. Thanks a lot for your time, champ.
Thank you guys so much. Bomb Squad!
How did I know that was coming?
Just feel it.
I knew it. I knew it was coming.